You are not authorized to prioritize him." The hospital administrator snapped coldly. The young nurse did not argue. She simply wheeled the frail veteran into a private room, away from the noise and away from the disrespect. Hours later, she was suspended without pay. But before the sun set, the lobby doors opened and a 4-star general marched in, carrying an order that no one dared challenge. If you believe helping a veteran is always the right thing, comment respect. Anna Brooks had not entered nursing for the praise or the pay. She had chosen this path to help people. A simple mission that sometimes got lost in the labyrinth of hospital protocols, insurance requirements, and administrative priorities. At 28, she was experienced enough to understand the system, but young enough to still believe she could change it one patient at a time. Riverside Memorial Hospital's emergency department hummed with its usual controlled chaos that Thursday afternoon. Gurneys lined the hallways. Monitors beeped their steady rhythms. Harried staff rushed between curtained cubicles. Anna had just finished her 5th straight hour without a break when she noticed him. An elderly man sitting alone in the waiting area, hunched forward slightly in his chair. Unlike the other waiting patients who scrolled through phones or flipped through outdated magazines, he sat perfectly still, one hand resting on his chest, the other gripping a worn army cap. His breathing seemed labored, but his face remained stoic, betraying no complaint. Despite the obvious discomfort, Anna approached him, clipboard in hand. "Sir, are you all right?" Henry Dawson, 86, looked up with pale blue eyes that had seen conflicts across 3 continents. "I am fine, ma'am. Just waiting my turn," he replied, his voice steady despite the slight tremor in his hand. Anna glanced at his intake form. Heart palpitations, shortness of breath, dizziness, classic cardiac warning signs. Yet his file was marked low priority in the triage system, likely due to the non-dramatic presentation and the fact that more visibly urgent cases kept arriving. "How long have you been waiting so, Dawson?" she asked, noting the timestamp on his paperwork. "About 3 hours now," he answered without complaint. "I understand there are folks worse off." Anna's trained eye caught what others had missed: the slight bluish tinge to his fingernails, the almost imperceptible wheeze in his breathing, the clammy sheen on his forehead. These were not symptoms to leave sitting in a waiting room. Without hesitation, she retrieved a wheelchair. "Let us get you somewhere quieter, sir. I would like to check your vitals." Henry did not protest as she helped him into the chair and wheeled him past the waiting area, through the main triage zone and into a small private observation room, normally reserved for patients already admitted. She efficiently hooked him up to a monitor, noting with concern his irregular heartbeat and declining oxygen saturation. She had just administered oxygen when Dr. Patel rushed in, followed closely by Linda Hargrove, the hospital's administrative director. "Nurse Brooks." Hargrove snapped, her voice sharp enough to cut through the hospital's ambient noise. "You are not authorized to prioritize this patient. We have designated VIPs waiting and a protocol to follow." Anna stood her ground. "He is showing signs of cardiac distress. I was not about to let him collapse in the waiting room. That is not your call to make." Hargrove replied coldly. "Dr. Patel, please assess the patient." "Nurse Brooks, I need to see you outside now." 20 minutes later, Anna's access badge was deactivated. She was escorted to the staff exit, suspended without pay, pending a full review of her violation of institutional protocols. As she walked to her car, the weight of injustice sat heavy on her shoulders. But she did not regret her choice. Not for a second. Word of Anna's suspension spread through the hospital with the efficiency of a contagion. Nurses huddled in break rooms, their voices hushed as they discussed what had happened. Many sympathized with Anna, but few spoke up. "You cannot just bypass the whole system," one veteran nurse reasoned. "Rules exist for a reason. She was just trying to help someone who needed it," argued another more quietly. "And now she might lose her job," came the reply. Was it worth it? That question hung in the air, unanswered but revelatory. In a system that valued compliance over compassion, acts of humanity had become calculated risks. Meanwhile, in room 114, Henry Dawson's condition had stabilized. Dr. Patel, though initially irritated by the interruption to protocol, had quickly confirmed Anna's assessment. Mr. Dawson had been experiencing the early stages of heart failure. The prompt intervention had likely prevented a major cardiac event. "You are lucky that nurse brought you in when she did," Dr. Patel told him, updating his chart. "You were heading for serious trouble." Henry nodded, his military bearing evident even in a hospital gown. Where is she? The nurse who helped me. Dr. Patel hesitated, uncomfortable with the question. She is not on shift anymore. Did something happen to her? Henry pressed, sensing the evasion. A younger nurse in the room could not contain herself. They suspended her for helping you, she blurted, then looked around nervously. She broke protocol by bringing you back before your turn. Henry's weathered face hardened, the lines around his mouth deepening. She got in trouble for helping me. Hospital policy, Dr. Patel said clearly, wanting to end the conversation. I am sure it will all be sorted out. After the medical staff left, Henry sat quietly for several minutes, his thoughts traveling back across decades of memory. He had seen this before. Good people punished for doing the right thing. It had happened in war. It had happened in peace. And apparently it was happening now in this hospital. With deliberate movements, he reached for the small leather notebook he kept in his jacket pocket. The pages were worn, filled with names written in a hand that had grown less steady over the years. Names of men from his unit in Vietnam. Names of friends who had fallen. Names of those who had survived but had since passed on. And near the back, a page with just one name followed by a phone number, updated periodically over 5 decades. Lieutenant Matthew Hale. Only Hale was not a lieutenant anymore. He was General Matthew Hale. 4 stars. With offices at the Pentagon. Henry had not called this number in years. There had been no need. But as he dialed, his mind flashed back to 1969, to monsoon rains and mortar fire, to a young lieutenant with a shattered leg, to the long, grueling hours he had spent carrying that officer through enemy territory to the extraction point. The call connected. A professional voice answered. General Hale's office. Henry's voice was steady, clear. This is Master Sergeant Henry Dawson. Retired. I need to speak with the general. Surprisingly little time passed before another voice came on the line. Older now, but unmistakable. Dawson, is that really you? It is me, sir. I am calling because, well, someone needs a little backup today. They suspended kindness and thought it ended there. But loyalty once earned never forgets. If your heart feels heavy right now, comment unfair. The afternoon shift at Riverside Memorial had settled into its routine rhythm. In the administrative wing, Linda Hargrove was in a budget meeting, explaining to department heads why certain efficiency measures were necessary. In the emergency department, the waiting room remained full, patients shifting uncomfortably in hard plastic chairs. The first indication that something unusual was happening came when security radios crackled to life. Then came the distinctive rumble of vehicles with government plates pulling up to the main entrance. At precisely 4:37 p.m., the automatic doors slid open and a 4-star general in full dress uniform walked into the hospital lobby. He was flanked by 2 aides, their posture and movements reflecting years of military discipline. Behind them came 2 more officers carrying briefcases bearing the Department of Defense seal. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Staff froze in place. Patients looked up from their phones, suddenly alert to the dramatic shift in atmosphere. General Matthew Hale, his chest adorned with rows of ribbons and medals that told a story of over 40 years of distinguished service, surveyed the lobby with the practiced eye of a man accustomed to assessing situations quickly. He spotted the information desk and approached with purposeful strides. I am here regarding Master Sergeant Henry Dawson, he announced, his voice carrying the natural authority of high command. And the nurse who treated him. The receptionist blinked rapidly, clearly flustered. I will call administration right away, sir. Within minutes, Linda Hargrove emerged from her meeting. A professional smile plastered across her face as she hurried toward the lobby. Behind her trailed the hospital's chief of medicine and the director of public relations, both looking equally concerned and confused. General Hale. Hargrove greeted him, extending her hand. This is an unexpected honor. How can Riverside Memorial assist the military today? The general did not take her hand. Instead, he asked, where is the nurse who helped Master Sergeant Dawson this morning? Hargrove's smile faltered. I am afraid there was a procedural situation that nurse. General Hale interrupted, his voice now carrying clearly through the lobby where staff and patients alike had gone silent to witness the unfolding scene. Prioritize the right thing over red tape. That nurse saved the life of a man who once carried half my platoon through enemy fire while wounded himself. And now, he nodded to one of his aides who stepped forward with a document. She will be reinstated immediately with commendation. The aide handed Hargrove an official letter bearing the Department of Defense letterhead. She scanned it, her face losing color. This is, she began, an official reminder. General Hale finished for her. That in accordance with federal policy established in the Veterans Health Priority Act, facilities partnered with the Veterans Affairs must respect the service and needs of all confirmed veterans without delay or exception. This hospital receives major federal funding under that agreement. The chief of medicine stepped forward. General, I promise you, we care about our veteran patients. There was simply a question of procedure. Procedure. The general repeated the word, hanging in the air. I knew a young sergeant once who ignored orders to carry a wounded lieutenant off a battlefield when rules said to wait for pickup. If he had followed procedure, I would not be standing here today. He paused, letting the words settle in. Sometimes procedure costs lives. That nurse understood that and acted correctly. Up on the third floor in room 114, Henry Dawson watched the local news on the small television attached to the wall. The sound was muted, but he did not need to hear the words. The video from the hospital lobby told him everything he needed to know. He smiled faintly, nodding to himself. Still got it, Lieutenant, he whispered. Still got it. By the next morning, the story had gone viral. Nurse punished for helping veteran, General steps in was spreading across social media sites. News vans camped outside Riverside Memorial, while inside management rushed to fix the story. Anna Brooks was not only reinstated but offered a formal apology and a promotion to lead emergency response nurse. More importantly, she was asked to create a new training course for the staff. Veteran-sensitive care protocols. The hospital leaders, trying to recover from the public damage, declared a new policy. Veteran priority response. The Henry Dawson Clause. Ensuring verified veterans would get fast attention and proper treatment. 2 weeks later, as Henry got ready to leave, it was Anna who came to wheel him out. His heart condition had been managed with medicine and a minor operation. His outlook good for a man of his age. They tell me you are getting a medal from the American Nurses Association, Henry said as they moved toward the elevator. For honesty under pressure. Anna smiled. I was just doing my duty, Mr. Dawson. No, he answered, looking up at her. You were really seeing me. Not just my age. Not just another file. That is rare now. As they reached the hospital exit, the afternoon sun hit the American flag flying over the parking lot. Henry saluted it like he had done thousands of times in his life. Thank you for deserving it, sir, Anna said softly. Henry nodded. She meant much more than just her duty or his recovery. Some things, he said, are always worth standing up for. Subscribe to Iron Echo if you believe true honor does not fade.